All right, enough Classico. How about some quick hits instead?
Let's go, Gab.
Liverpool win 3-2 at the Wanda Metropolitano against Atletico Madrid. Jules, they deserve this, but might it have been a different story if your boy Antoine Griezmann hadn't been sent off?
Very much so, Gab, because at the moment when he was sent off with that high foot on Firmino, not that he knew anything about it because he was looking at the ball, but it's the right call, the red card, as harsh that it could look. But the Atletico were very much in control. They came back from 2 goals down to 2-2. Griezmann with the 2 goals. And then they looked a bit shaky, especially defensively for Liverpool. They were really bad defensively. Virgil van Dijk, one of the worst games that he's had since joining Liverpool. And then, obviously, at 11v10, Liverpool took back control and had a penalty after a stupid foul by Hermoso on Jota. Mohamed Salah scored the penalty. And then after that, they got a little scared at the end, but they won it. I think Club called it a dirty win, which was probably right, but it prepares them well for the game at Old Trafford against Manchester United at the weekend. Rami Abbas, who is Mohamed Salah's agent, is in town, and Salah is due a new contract, Gab, as his current one expires in 2023. Do you think this one will happen? And for how much? The wages seems to be maybe a point of issue between the two parts.
Yeah, there have been reports that he's demanding £400,000 a week, which would be about twice what he's earning now. Which, by the way, in the grand scheme of how much top earners in Europe make, isn't even that much for a guy of his quality. I think Liverpool have to be smart here. Obviously, they're losing a key part of their team building strategy, Michael Edwards. But you don't re-sign Salah at any price, and it has to work, and it has to work within the context of their plans for the forward line, because, as we've noted many times before, Roberto Firmino and Sadio Mane are both roughly the same age and both go out of contract in 2023. Liverpool do not have unlimited funds, and I think their plan was probably a few years ago to sell one of the three, and then maybe the pandemic put an end to that. Now they're going to keep them together for Klopp's final years. That is the plan. I'd love to see them say, hey, you know what? Let's keep talking about this. Or you're still under contract. Let's just keep going. Let's see what happens. Because right now in the current climate, there aren't that many teams. People talk about the current value of Salah. Well, there aren't many teams that can afford to pay you £20 million a year. A lot of those teams already have better players in that position, or players that they're locked into for a very long time in that position, or players who they can't shift. So I don't know. Other than Paris Saint-Germain, if Mbappe leaves, as appears likely, of course, and maybe one or two others, I just don't see that many guys are going to come up, give you a transfer fee, and give Salah on the eve of his 30th birthday a huge contract. No Neymar, so it's a good thing that Messi guy is around, because Paris Saint-Germain came from behind to beat Leipzig 3-2.
Oh, Gab, they didn't play well. Let's be honest here. Again, not sure what Pochettino tried to do. He got it wrong tactically, the 4-3-3, with really wide wingers, Draxler and Messi. Didn't work out. But they came back and won. They won. And it's a bit similar to United, if you want, only because of individual brilliance from Messi, from Mbappe, who had another good game, but it's good for Paris. Talking about Paris, do you like my shirt, by the way? My dad played under 15 with for Saint-Mandé in the Paris suburbs when he was a kid, hey? But I expect much more from PSG and Pochettino going forward, that's for sure, because in many respects, that was a lucky win against Jesse Marsch and his team. Milan, with loads of players out, injured, Gab, lose to Porto. That's 3 defeats in 3 now. Are they doomed that's it, or can they do an Atalanta from last season or 2 seasons ago?
I think they can do an Atalanta. I think it's going to be extremely tough for the situation that they're in. They did not play well against Porto. I'd certainly not comparable to how they played with Atletico Madrid, when they should have won and they deserved to win, and there were some terrible refereeing mistakes. I think the mood still has to be pretty good, but you look around, Atleti are on 4 points. If Liverpool can do you a favor in the next match and beat Atleti and you win, then suddenly you're 1 point. You win at home against Porto. You're 1 point out of second place. So you have to think in those terms. Bayern take a while to get going and then destroy Benfica 4-0. Jules, they're terrifying right now, especially Leroy Sané.
Yeah, great. Maybe the most improved player in that squad since Nagelsmann has arrived. Moving back to his best position, I was going to say, more on the left-hand side. Or it's not even more central, almost as a number 10 at times. He's got a great free kick and then a tap in. It took them, well, you're right, 70 minutes. It was still 0-0, and after that they scored 4 between 70th and 90th minute. And it was a good win. It was a good win for them, establishing them even more at the top of that group. And Gab, in that game, there was no one on the bench, no Julien Nagelsmann, because he tested positive for COVID. Is that a big deal that he will be missing the next 10 days now as he have to self-isolate?
Yes and no. I mean, obviously it is a big deal because he's sick with COVID. And we've seen, while obviously he's a fit young man, there's been long COVID, there's been all sorts of things. We wish him a speedy recovery. And I think it is a big deal because, he's very hands-on in working with his players, and that's a big part of the reason why Bayern are so good right now. It's not a big deal because Bayern are through in the Champions League, and they can pretty much run an autopilot at least for a while because the talent gap is so great. How about some love for Ajax? They're undefeated. They put 4 past Dortmund. They have a 37-year-old cult hero keeper named Remco. And yeah, that Sebastian Haller guy is really, really good. Or are you just going to blame Marco Rose and the defending for screwing up once again?
I mean, the defending was dreadful, that's for sure, Gab. I mean, I don't know what Thomas Meunier, we know, is not a defender, really. Let's be honest, Thomas, you won't take offense. But Emre Can, Hummels, everything was just so. They could have lost that game 8-0. It was that embarrassing, that humiliating. Well done to Ajax, played great. Anthony is an incredible player to watch, but it was too easy. It was far too easy for Ajax in that game against Dortmund. Juventus are also unbeaten in their group, Gab. They won 1-0 at Zenit with Max Allegri grinding out those 1-0 wins. I think it's the 4th in a row or something, which is his trademark, let's be honest here.
It's his trademark, although I think he wouldn't want it to be his trademark. I think they'd want to be playing more attacking football, scoring more goals, being more effective in front of goal. But hey, they're not just undefeated; they're perfect. Along with Ajax and a couple others, they've won 3 of 3. That is a big deal. That's what they need for the time being going forward. I think we'll see the step up when Dybala returns, when things are a little more settled, and he can get the best out of his front men. Chelsea beat Malmo 4-0, but both Timo Werner and Romelu Lukaku get injured. Jules, I kind of think right now that the only thing that's going right for Tuchel is the results, which I guess are pretty important.
Yes, you're right. It's important, and they played much better with the ball. I mean, Malmo was so poor. They're such a bad team. But at least we saw a bit more triangles. We saw a bit more movement with the ball than what we've seen from Chelsea in the last few games. But losing Werner and Lukaku especially is a huge blow. We don't know yet for how long they're out, but let's hope for not too long. Kai Havertz, you expect, will play as a number 9 against Norwich at the weekend, and then the game's coming on. But yeah, it's a bad night. And you know what? It's one for another time, Gab. I'm not sure you had to play Lukaku in that game. The day before, Tuchel said he's overplayed, he's tired mentally, physically, and then he goes and plays him in that game. Or maybe it was to break the goal drought after 6 games in a row with not scoring for Lukaku. I don't know, but now with hindsight and the injury, maybe it was not the best call. Man City destroyed Club Brugge on Tuesday night, 5-1. And I looked at the stat, Gab, and I think it was the game where they ran the most with the highest intensity press, the highest intensity runs as well, in a game that they'd won after 25 minutes. That's pretty impressive from them, wasn't it?
It was impressive. I always wonder about that. I mean, I didn't know that stat. They certainly looked really, really good. Bruges are not a terrible team, but they were made to look a terrible team by City. I'm surprised that you'd expend so much energy in that situation. Obviously, Guardiola making a bunch of substitutions in the second half. And shout out, by the way, to Cole Palmer, who he comes on and he scores, I think, with his first touch, or scores one of the quickest goals in a long time in the Champions League for a guy making his debut.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.